All right, and all right. Shalom, shalom, Sister Deborah, prophetess in the wilderness. And you know what? That's all right with me. Coming again on this Deborah platform with another message. And I will say this is a lovely, lovely evening in which the Most High Yah has made, and I, Sister Deborah, shall and I will rest therein. I'm coming to say people need to stop lying to themselves. I think that where we're at today, people will believe a lie. I'm not going to say quicker than the truth because that's been found to be just that. But they will believe a lie, live a lie, act a lie, walk a lie, talk a lie, and continue therein a lie. Stop lying to yourself because it does you no good. Because you might as well be the best that you know how to be down here on the earth, cut up from the floor up, do what your flesh desires, and stop lying to yourself. You're lying to yourselves daily, and that's a sad thing. Well, Sister Deborah going to give you some information tonight. And this information I'm going to give you is like no other. It's information to show you the deepness of spirit and truth. And that you have not took on spirit and truth nor the light that rests therein. Because you would rather believe a lie than to embrace the truth. And where we at in that midnight hour, let me tell you, it's all right with Yah. Because he has orchestrated this thing from the beginning to the end. We can blame he, we can blame she, we can blame white, we can blame black, we can blame any and everything on this earth. But when it's all said and done, I feel so blessed to know. I feel blessed to know that heaven's already got our works written. So why are you lying? Why are you faking it till you make it? Now, this message is going to be very powerful. It's because it's going to take you a place you've never been before. And it's going to leave something with you. And no matter what you do, nothing you say, how many books you find, what you search to change what I'm about to say, it won't work. It won't work in you, upon you, nor around you. When you have a strong delusion and Yah has suffered that to be on you, it's nothing righteous. It's nothing just. It's nothing upright can be said to you. Because that strong delusion keeps you from being able to see any righteousness. And that's a bad position to be. That's a bad position for Yah to put you in. Not only would he put the strong delusion on you, he'll put it on everybody in the midst of you, on every side of you, in front of you, in back of you, your kids, your mother, your sister, your brother, your father, your husband, your wife. When that strong delusion is put on you, it's supposed to spill over on everybody that's in the midst of you. That's deep, but it's real. So this here that I'm about to show you is trying to get you, I hope you all can see that, trying to get you to, I'm going to bring it up some and hope that I don't mess nothing up here. I'm trying to get people to understand the difference between the flesh and the difference between the spirit, and how you're living out your flesh life in your spirit as well. Okay? So your judgment, when you stand before the throne, you ain't gonna stand before the throne in no flesh, no soul, but a spirit that was given unto thee. You're gonna stand before. And if your flesh had dominion over your spirit, know this. Know this today. If your flesh has dominion over your spirit, then your spirit stands not a chance for eternal heaven, because you lived out your spirit the way your flesh desired. You see, this is a powerful statement that I'm saying, because it really, I hope I think I do it to where it's just too much. Let me put on these glasses so I can see if I can. Oh, I did, didn't I? I wanted you to be able to see. Oh, I sure did. How did I do that? Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Now I'm ready. There. So I want you to see how powerful this right hand of Yah really is. Because I don't think y'all really know, but you're going to find out tonight. And you're going to think, now, where did that lady get that from? You're going to say, I ain't heard nobody break it down like that. You know why? Because it's a treat tonight. But you got to make up your mind to stop lying to yourself. And stop letting others lie to you. Now, okay, now it still went out, didn't it? I don't get that. I don't get why that light took away from the color. There it is. Can you see it? Okay, let me get to it before it switched up on me. Right now, you see, we're going to say this is an individual. This is a person. Okay, let's say this is Deborah. This is Deborah right here. Okay, this is me. Okay, now on the outer part of me, I created a body that's called flesh. Okay, my outer part is a marker that has given me a body, a head, and it's black. Everything that's, when you see me in the flesh. Okay, so the outer me is flesh. But do you see that? Can you see that, like that orange, that light orange? That's my spirit. That is my spirit that I received from the Most High Yah. Is my spirit. So the inner part of me is my spirit. And here's my spirit, the word spirit. And as you can't hardly see it, but I got a line leading from this area to spirit. And I got a line leading from this part of me that is flesh. So on the out of me, what you see me on the outside, that's flesh. Okay? But inside of me, I have this spirit. You see that little light, that orange? That's a spirit. Now, I want you to know that our worstest, Sister Deborah's worstest enemy is my outer man. Okay? That's my worstest enemy. Is my outer man, which is what? My flesh. Okay? That's my worstest enemy. Why? What will make my flesh my worstest enemy? Because the part of me that is spirit, the flesh is after to destroy. My flesh is after to destroy my spirit. That's why my flesh and your flesh is your biggest enemy and your worstest enemy. You would never hear in any scriptures or any word out of the instructions and direction book stating and giving all the glory and credit to the flesh. So here you see it's my flesh. I got it wrote down. That's the outer part of me, which is in a black marker. But the inside is my spirit. That's what he gave me, an image like his likeness of him. That's Yah's image is a spirit. And he gave everyone that has come into the world a spirit. So when he breathed the breath of life, he blew into you the breath of life. And when he blew it, he blew in his image, which is a spirit. Now, this is Deborah. The outer part of me is flesh. And the a bright orange inside of me is my spirit. My spirit versus enemy is not demons and Satan. Okay? It's not demons and Satan. Why? Because my spirit is in the inside of me. The only thing Satan can come after is my outer self, which is my flesh. Okay? So when he comes to connect and detach himself, wicked and evil, to your flesh that opens the door and suffer him to come in and control the flesh. But there's another part of you which is inside of you, and it's called a spirit. In the Gospel of John, chapter 1, John stated this. In the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 4 and 5. Now, y'all, this gonna blow you off the map right here, because it's gonna get you now. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 4 and 5. It states, in him was life. What was life? The breath of life. It's telling you in Yah, he had life, which was the breath of life. And the life was to give you a light. See this light? Which is a spirit. It is a light in you. Okay? The Gospel of John, chapter 1 said, in him was life. That's the breath of life. Okay? And the life was a light unto a light of men, because they are the seed. When you see sperms, you see little lights all over the place. On the round part, it's a little lights. Why? Because this is the life. This is the light that Yah has given every human being on the earth. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 9, it says, that was the true light, which lit every man that cometh into the world. See? Who lit it? The Father. How? He gave everybody that's born into the world a light, which is a spirit, and a spirit that has an image like unto him, which is a spirit. He is the uppercase light, and he given us a image like unto himself, which is a light The light and the spirit is the same thing. So he give us a spirit that's likened to him. A lot of people taught in the churches everywhere, they still teach it, that the image of Yah is when you look at Sister Deborah. They used to tell you, appreciate who you are, because that's the image of Yah. No. The image of Yah is never flesh. Yah has given nobody the image of a flesh. He gave you the image like unto him. What he said, let us make man in our image, which is a spirit, and in our likeness. So he gave us a spirit like unto his spirit. In the Gospel of John, he calls himself the light. Verse 9, the Gospel of John, chapter 1 and verse 9, that was the true light which lighted every man that cometh unto the world. You go back up to the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 4 and 5, he says, in him was life. That was when he breathed into Adam. He breathed into Adam the breath of life that shot straight in a spirit. So I know they tell y'all it's a soul, but it's a spirit, baby. Yah's image is a spirit. It is a light. Okay? So he gave that to every man and woman that come into the world, but it was found in males because they hold the light. They hold the light. What happens when they mate with a woman? When they get with a woman, they disperse lights out. Those lights has to touch and get in the right place with the shell, which is the egg of a woman. Okay? But it's found in men. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 4, in him was life. That's the Yah was, and Yah had life, was the light of man. So a lot of people don't know that breath of life was the light. That was how he breathed into man a spirit. And that's how he became the breath of life. As he gave the breath of life, he blew into a man his image of a spirit, so that you can have a spirit and I can have a spirit. We all have a spirit. Okay? I know they're telling you so. If you want to go on and keep lying to yourself, go on and keep lying to yourself. I believe soul was put in there to totally 100% confuse people, and it did an excellent job. Because when soul is in there, you battle with soul, and you can't really see flesh and spirit, because soul, that middleman in there bothering you, you see. But when you move that soul out of your whole mind frame, then you see flesh and spirit, just as you see here, flesh and spirit. Okay, now what I want to say about this is me. The outer part of me is my flesh. The inner part of me is my spirit. What they are trying to do in such a midnight hour is to get people to believe that they should be under submissive, or submitted to a man. Okay? to her husband, to her head, to all of this. But this is where y'all gonna get messed up. This is where you're gonna lose it. If this is your flesh and you got a spirit inside of it. Let's say, for instance, Deborah is married, okay? I'm spirit inside and I'm flesh on the outside. My husband is spirit on the inside and he's flesh on the outside. If I myself is my own worst enemy as flesh, what is it that makes one want somebody else flesh under their control? You would have to be sicker than sick. Because the flesh is the only thing Satan controls and can control. So when a man wants to control a woman and want her to be submissive and under full control from A to Z, he wants full power over your flesh. And while he's getting full power over your flesh, he's trying to destroy your spirit. And that's what's taking place. That is what's taking place. Because his whole ideal is, I'm a king, I'm a leader, I'm the head. You first have to be a head over your own head. And when your own head ain't got sense enough to understand it's your worst enemy, then you think you need other females' head to be under control of your flesh head. Ooh-wee. Yeah, I told you was gonna miss it. So if Sister Deborah is right here and she's a flesh and she's a spirit, who wants the spirit? That's the part Yah come in, y'all. Yah comes in here, and that's where he abide. He knows about this here because that's his image. So he'll come inside of you, and that's where he would teach you. He will lead you. He will guide you. He will use your spirit inside of your flesh, and he'll sit right in you. Now, while he's in you, guess who's fighting against you and the Yah that's in you? Your flesh. Your flesh fight up against your spirit, especially when the flesh knows that your spirit has the Ruach HaKodesh resting therein. So if I give my flesh and submit my flesh over to another person's flesh, what is that saying? What does it look like if I am my own worst enemy and Satan is only after my flesh? But I'm going to take my flesh and submit my flesh to another flesh and call it righteous and call it the will of the Father. You know why it's not righteous, nor is it the will of the Father? Because the Father said, I don't deal in your nasty flesh. You can't even worship me in that flesh. You see? So why would another flesh want you in control, be in their control, when your flesh is your own worst enemy? Their flesh is their own worst enemy, but they want you to turn your flesh over to them. Why? To control your inner man, your spirit. Kill, steal, and destroy. From what end? The outside end. That's what they're coming to do. They're coming to destroy you from the outside. Because if you submit to me, your flesh, that I am in full control of your flesh, that means no matter what is in your spirit, it don't mean nothing because I rule your flesh. Do y'all see it? And if he says flesh is our worst enemy, why would somebody else want somebody else's flesh to rule? That's deep. Except to destroy your spirit. And that's actually what happens. They get destroyed from the inside because they're so busy trying to please someone else's flesh from the outside. They get destroyed from the inside. If Sister Deborah submit my flesh to another flesh, will I ever reach the destiny in the spirit to use the spiritual gifts to hear the voice of Yah? No, you can't. Because while you hearing Yah, someone else is in control of your flesh. So that means it don't matter who you hear. It don't matter who you serve in your spirit. It's worthless because you've given your flesh to be submissive over another person's flesh. And where do the flesh go, y'all? To the grave, y'all. All flesh is already assigned. It's called hell, which is the grave. So why would somebody want somebody's flesh to submit to them when their flesh and the one that's going to submit flesh both are going in the grave? Why? Because if they can have control over your flesh, they got your spirit. That's what Satan's only after. See, Satan can kill, steal, and destroy what? The outer man, which is your flesh. He comes to what? Kill, steal, and destroy. That's just like those who want you to submit and have that heavy power over you. They're coming to kill, steal, and destroy you. They're going after your inside, which is your spirit. Why? No one would never know. You know, I'm going to tell you why they're going after your inner man. Because that's the only place that you can worship Yah. That's the only place Yah will come and abide in you. That's the only place where Yah will teach you from. That's the only place where Yah will reveal things to you. That's the only place Yah will comfort you, is in your spirit. But if your flesh has been turned over and been submissive to someone else's flesh, then you are under full control by another person's flesh. By another person's flesh. So if that person's flesh is their own worst enemy and your flesh is your own worst enemy, what's the best thing to do? Why you think he says, seek ye the kingdom first? Don't go running around here getting with all these men. Talking about you got a covering. You a fool, you's a fool, and you's a fool. Because there ain't no greater covering than the cover that's in you, which is the Ruach HaKodesh. You see how sick? You see how you keep lying to yourself? What can override the covering that abide in you, in your spirit? How can anything else override the Ruach HaKodesh in you? You think you need a man to cover you if the Ruach is in your spirit? That's why you sold out. You sold out to an idol god. You keep lying to yourself, even though you know truth. You keep lying to yourself because it's better for you to lie to yourself and keep the charade to make these men think they fall under righteous. There's no righteous in them. All this submitting is a no-no. You need to seek ye the kingdom of Yah first. And that means get that Ruach. Ask Yah to give you the Ruach to be in you. And the Ruach will teach you from the inside out. And if you are with somebody, and the reason why they want to keep on having full control over several wives and having control over women, is because they come to kill, steal, and destroy you. The same thing Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy you. Satan already know he can't come in this here part. He can't mess with your spirit. So he tried to kill, steal, and destroy your outer man. Same thing with these men on the earth today. who want you to be submissive and in control and wants to have wives ruling over them like they some king or leader. And Yah didn't tell you in Deuteronomy, you're going to come to this land in your captivity and be what you think you are today. You did that yourself. And you got the multitude following you down that rabbit hole. And Yah said, that's why I made your lane, so you'll be able to run in it. Because they are setting the whole ship to sink. Because the people that's on the ship been lying to themselves. Yah rests within you. He teaches you from within. He said you can't worship him in your flesh. He's letting you know your flesh don't have can't stand a chance with trying to praise him and worship him in your flesh. Now, when he get in your spirit, he will teach you how to tame your flesh, to submit to the spirit of who he is, that greatness in you. But how can you do that if you gave your flesh to be submissive to another person's flesh? Don't ever let somebody tell you being submissive to a man is the will of Yah. Yah tells you to seek me first. Why him? Because if you want to run and lie to yourself 24/24 and seek a man talking about a covering, you ain't gonna, the Ruach ain't gonna come abide in you. And see, it's a lot of things he does for you from the inside. But he does it from the inside because that's the image he gave you of himself. That's the spirit. He can come and abide in you in your spirit. But if you have turned your flesh over to the full control of another flesh, then you messed up from the floor. You messed up. Because Yah controls you from the inside. And when you got individual controlling you from the outside, you can't be the best you can be with the one that's in you. And he is not going to rest in you and be all that he is from the inside because you have sold your outer man. If your outer man is your worst enemy, then what is that man's outer being to him? His worst enemy. So why should flesh submit to flesh? Come on now, y'all. Come make some sense with it. You ain't gonna make none. All this submitting is foolish. It's demonic and wicked and evil. And they really thinking submitting entitled you to what? A roof over your head and food to eat. You done sold out. Because Yah said, if you seek me, I see to it that you have all that you need. But I'm not going to be able to deal with you when you have given full control to another flesh of a man. And that flesh of a man has not submitted to Yah. Therefore, you have to submit to Yah first. He has to submit to Yah. When two are joined together, fully submitted to the Most High Yah, then you come together. Because Yah is first and foremost in both of your lives. But when you're going to erase the spirit in you and say, no, I'm just going to submit to him and see if I can get in the kingdom on his back. And that's what they're telling y'all. Y'all going to judge your actions in your flesh. Even what you have given, even what you have done, and your works is already written. So if you think your works is what you're doing today, let me tell you, you're lying to yourself. Because he already know who you are. Why you done sold yourself over to a flesh. That means you took them before you took Yah. You ain't seeking Yah. You cannot seek Yah through a man, y'all. You got to seek him for yourself. Let me give you an example. When we stand before the Most High Yah for judgment, do you really believe he gonna say, okay, Where's your head? Pull up your head. Where's your husband you had? Where's your ruler? Where's your king? Do you really believe y'all gonna ask you that? How stupid can you be? Why would you keep lying to yourself? You think that y'all gonna ask you come judgment? Where's your head? Where's your ruler? Where's your king? Where's your husband? Keep quiet. You think he gonna really tell you? You really believe y'all is like the flesh of a man? That's where we put him at. That's what we believe him is, being like unto a flesh of a man. That's why we can't see him in spirit and truth. We can't understand spirit and truth. We can't see the light because we're trying to put him somewhere like unto a man. And it tells you that all the time. We want to deal with y'all like unto a man. Now, while we're running around submitting and giving our flesh to another flesh, guess what? This destiny here, where you have gifts and abilities in the spirit realm, you will never be able to manifest. Why? It's because you gave your flesh over to flesh. It's like turning it over to Satan. Because all Satan want to do is destroy you from the outside. Because he know he can get you in the inside. So he'll destroy you from the outside and then have others that you turn around and submit yourself to destroy you from the outside too. By the time you finish, you cuckoo clock. You don't even know how to praise Yah. You don't know how to glorify him. You don't even know how to honor him. You don't know if you got any gifts. You ain't seen none because you turned your whole self over to the flesh of man. Now, where do the flesh go? To the grave. So why do you give man all of yourself? And it's going into the grave. And that part of you that should have led your flesh from the outside and taught your flesh how to be submissive to him, how to do the will of the Father. Your flesh can't even do the will of the Father because you turned your flesh over to somebody else. How is y'all going to work his work in you if you submit your flesh to somebody else? And did you know your flesh, what you're doing in your flesh, he's going to judge you based on how you conduct yourself. See, because you didn't understand that he comes to teach you from the inside out so that your flesh can submit to him. But what did you do? You said, no, I got to submit to this man. I got to have an idol God. I got to have an idol head. I got to have somebody that's going to lead and guide me. Baby, who going to override the head that's in you? See how dumb you are? See how dumb you are? See how you keep lying to yourself? Who gonna outbeat the head that's in you? From what I heard, the body of Hamashiach is the head. See, you missed it. From what I understand, in the spirit of truth, Hamashiach is the head over the body of Christ. What part is that? Is he the head? He's the power over those who are in the body. The body is controlled by the head. The head is the power. But how can it work in you when you didn't turn and gave your whole self and submit your whole self to somebody else? How you going to know about anything that Yah has given you, gifts, and how is anything going to manifest? That's why I try to tell y'all, stop lying to yourself. Because today, you already know who you are. And you still trying to fake it until you make it. You think if you just hang in there and let them rule you and make you think that's being submissive to them is going to get you into the kingdom, you ain't going to find not one scripture saying that. And when you stand before glory, y'all going to say what you do with your flesh. You let your flesh have dominion on the earth. And the spirit was anorexia. Why? Because you submitted your flesh to another flesh. And that flesh has not even submitted themselves to the Most High Yah. It didn't matter to you. That flesh told you, I give you a roof over your head and food to eat. And you thought that I was asking for more. That was more than enough. That was more than enough. Yah, when he poured out the gifts from heaven, guess what? He didn't look down and say, hey, men, it's only for you. Yah did not pour out the gifts from the heavens. Before the foundation of the world, those that really want the truth of the matter, he had already predestined and ordained you from your mother's womb. And there are those that came down like Adam and Eve, perfect will, set in the midst of a perfect location, and instantly sold their spirit off. Instant blink of an eye. And that's what a lot of these women are doing. These men are telling them, you submit to me. And what you're submitting to is their flesh. Their flesh desire, their flesh wisdom, their flesh understanding, their flesh knowledge, their flesh emotions, their flesh feelings, their flesh opinions. And you thinking it's representing Yah. No, Yah is an inner man. He deals with you from the inner, not from the desire of the flesh. Why do you think that the men can say the things that they say and use the type of language that they use and to do the things on the outer man and justify it for the inner man? You know why? It's because their flesh is already, they have already dominion over their spirit. That's their destiny. So when they judge, when they stand up before the throne, the books are going to be open, and the works are going to be sitting right there. Your works was your flesh ruled your spirit. See, a lot of people don't know that, because if he come to abide in you, he coming from the spirit. He's coming from your spirit, and his spirit is going to abide within you. You see, and everything that he has for you to do, he's going to work it from the inside. From the inside of who you are. He ain't working this outer side. And if he got to tame your flesh, he's going to do it from the inside. But when the flesh has submitted it over to somebody else who ain't submitted themselves to the spirit of Yah, and Yah is not resting in the center, when Yah rests in you, guess what? You ain't going to bring nothing to this temple, because you know he's right here. Just tell me. Okay, watch this here. If Yah is in your spirit and you know he there, you know that he's there, why would you bring things to your flesh, things that pleasures your flesh? Alcohol, strong drink, beer, things that alternate your thought pattern. You're going to bring it to your flesh. You're going to say all kind of hateful and evil things out of your mouth. But there he is. The Holy Spirit is in you. You're going to bring lust to your whole body because you want 5 wives. So you're going to be having lust in your whole body because you got 5 wives. But there go Yah in the middle. You see what I'm saying? You bring all of this stuff to the temple, your spirit, where Yah abide. And you think Yah going to look on here and say it's okay. Even out of your mouth are words of the world. And it's okay with Yah. Bringing drink into your body, knowing that he dwell. You know what? I would feel, I can't even say what I would feel, but I know for a fact I would not be out here bringing all kind of things, adultery, abomination, lust, pleasure to the flesh. And this is what they're making y'all think. I got to be in control and head, lead, and ruler over your flesh at all times. Submit to me. I got to rule. I got to do this. And guess what? When he stand before Yah, Yah ain't gonna ask him, well, wait a minute, where's your wife? Where's your concubine? Where's your wives? You think you're going to pull up at the altar of to the throne of the Most High Yah come judgment with all of them that you had pleasure with in your flesh? All the ones you had submit their flesh to you to where they couldn't be submissive to the Most High Yah? And you really think this is how the women are lying to themselves? You're going to get up there and you really believe you're going to be justified. You're going to be clarified. You know, that's why he said, then come judgment, there's not going to be any. Hold on for a minute, because this individual is calling. Hello? Hello? Yeah, I need to move it. Okay, I'm sorry about that. So, what is it that we want to continue to lie about? Everybody on the face of the earth who are submitting themselves to the flesh of another human being, you have sold out your spirit. You've sold out. Say, for instance, if Yah wanted you to submit. Now listen to this. Hear this carefully. If Yah wanted you to submit to these men, then therefore he'll make them pay the penalty for your judgment. Think, y'all. Think. Y'all don't think, do you? See how simple that sounds? When you stand before judgment, your head ain't gonna be there. When you gave your whole life to this one supposed to be your king, your leader, your ruler, he your head. You submitted to him. But wait a minute. You get up to the altar of the Most High Yah. Where is he at? Wait a minute. Hold up, Father. Okay, let's a woman get up there come judgment. She's standing at the throne. She's standing there. Why you think for 1 minute she gonna say, where's my head? Where's my husband? The one I submitted to. I turned everything to him. I put him head over my life. I had him. I submitted my life to him. I gave him ruler over me. And y'all gonna say, wait a minute, hold up. You seek ye his flesh. He seek ye your flesh. And now you gonna stand here in spirit of my kingdom and tell me you all seek each other flesh and want me to judge you based on how you submitted your flesh to a flesh of a man. If Yah said to you, he has no dealing with your flesh. Why is it important that he wants you to submit yourself to a flesh of a man? Y'all don't even know how to think right. If he wanted you to submit yourself way that a man has to rule and control you, then therefore, when it comes down to judgment, wouldn't you think that he should pay the penalty because you submitted your whole life to him? He ruled over you, but he get I forgot to tell you. He did give you a roof over your head and gave you some food to eat. But what is that? Flesh. Everything a man can do for you on the face of this earth is flesh. It all goes to the grave. So what is it that's so powerful about these men telling y'all to submit? I'm the leader. I'm the ruler. I control you. I'm your head. But then when you get to the throne of Yah, you standing alone. Come on, somebody, talk to me. Why are you standing alone? He ruled you from the beginning to the end, and now you're going to stand up to the throne alone? Why ain't he paying the price? You submitted your whole life to him. You gave him your whole flesh. and did it your whole way, his way. Because he told you he your head. He your leader, your ruler. You got to submit to him. And when you submit to him, guess what? You cannot submit to y'all. That's why he said, seek me first, y'all. Know where I am in you. Because guess what happens? Once you seek ye the kingdom first, and a man come along telling you submit, he's your ruler, he's the king, he's your head, the ruach in you gonna stand firm and say, hold up, I'm your head. See, they don't, now see what y'all, you see that, y'all? See how y'all don't, now you see what I'm saying about stop lying? You see how lost the people are? Now, Yah is greater in you than he that's in the world. But yet the flesh of a man is going to rule you and be your head, and you're going to submit your whole life. Do you believe, women? Do you really believe your whole life being born was for a man to have full control over you? That's a lie from the pit of hell, because if you go to Genesis 1 and 2, he sit there and told you, no, nobody. It ain't no you rule her. Y'all going to have dominion. Y'all going to over the earth. Everything is going to be them. And just because it said, and the man said this, and Roman Catholic might have put this in here, man going to rule over you. Look at the demonic spirit in that. What would make a man, make a creator in heaven, look down at the flesh of man and say, I want you to rule her, control her, be the head over her. And then he come and bring the ruach. So how is she going to be any of that if you in full control over her? Can't be done. Y'all ain't told them that. That's why he says if they miss Genesis 1 and 2, they done lied on the whole book of instructions and direction. Just think of that, y'all. If y'all created man to rule over women the way that they want rule over look how dark it is out here, y'all. Midnight hour. They want a woman submissive. They want a woman they can control and belittle and say hateful things to them. They don't say nothing nice, y'all. These men do not talk to these women nice, because they can't really handle them, y'all, as anything like a man's supposed to handle a woman. You see? So that's why you can see a lot of them have this sharp attitude, negative mouth. It's because they can't really handle home unless they're using a power struggle in a way or a threat. These women is so ignorant. Because anything happened to that man, this world ain't gonna know you and your children is not gonna be in anywhere legal. They can actually send you out of country, because that's a part of control. They tell you that you don't have to follow no law. You don't have to get no Social Security, no birth certificate. That's a trap, y'all. That's a part of a cult. That one man passed away that had 4 wives and they got children. They just out there. Guess what? They can't even go get a birth certificate. They can't get the man's Social Security. They can't get nothing, because a loudmouth man have caused these women to submit to them their whole lives. What's the sense of living? What Solomon said, you better enjoy it, your portion, because that's what Yah has given you. But how can you enjoy anything being around somebody who wants you to be like a cow or pigs in a stable? Wait, why would you even want to live like that? It's because they have they have captured and won your flesh over. And your spirit is anorexia. That's why you don't get spirit and truth. You get the mouth of the man. You get the will of the man. You get the wisdom of that man. You get the knowledge of that man. You get the understanding of that man. You get the feelings of that man. You get the emotions of that man, because you sold yourself out to him in a way Yah did not call you to be. Only one you're supposed to be sold out to is Yah. Yah ain't told you to go and be submissive to your husband. See, they'll grab that out of the New Testament, but then you say something that goes up against what they said. Oh no, that's a letter. That ain't true. See, that's how you know something wrong. But see, what they don't understand, this is the key. The book is instructions and direction, but the Ruach is the word. So when you study, the Ruach will come and abide there. He already in you, and he began to teach you spirit and truth. So you'll know. But what they do is they put them in a cult. They are in a cult. And their mindset is, when you do this, you do this, you do this. I rule and I do this. Don't do this. You can't do this. I rule. Who would want to live a life already in captivity to these heathens? But now you're in captivity because some man told you he's your head. And that head means I rule over you to the point you ain't got no say so. You ain't got no do. You ain't got no want. You ain't got no desire. You just do it his way. Y'all didn't have nobody born to follow the way of the flesh of a man. He did not. No, he did not. Because when you stand before him, he ain't going to ask you where's your head. He ain't going to ask you where's your king. He ain't going to ask you where's your queen. He ain't going to ask you where's your wives. Where's your sisters. You're going to stand your tail up there. And he going to open the books to show your works. And your works are not going to have anything spirit. It ain't going to have nothing spirit. See, what people didn't understand is you serve and worship Yah in spirit and in truth. So if you don't have works that represent spirit and truth, you just out there. You just out there. And Yah has allowed you to be out there among those that have deceived you because you didn't trust him from your spiritual heart. You trust that dark heart of your flesh to do the will of man. And you never trust your spiritual heart that Yah come in and abide in. You got a spiritual eye, you got a spiritual ear, and you got a spiritual heart inside of your body. But when your heart is darkened and you doing the ways of man, the ways of the flesh of men, the ways of your flesh, and the ways of your flesh is when you are in full control, or you in control of the flesh of another man. And that's why they want to have you. And that's why they fighting so dear for polygamy. Now, what do Yah, if Yah say you can't worship him in the flesh, he said he don't have no dealing with your flesh. Why is everything we do in the flesh put up on the highest pedestals, put up on the highest pedestal in heaven? How could that be? How could lust, desire of abomination, adultery, and all these other things put up on a pedestal and said these are the will of Yah? All in the flesh. All in the flesh. How is it that the Father can have 4 women bringing forth Jacob's seed? I'm gonna show you where y'all messed up with these men. They mess y'all up. Guess what? Jacob tampered with 4 women. And if you see what they did, y'all, even starting with the first wife, he was drunk. Oh, but that's the will of Yah, huh? That was the will of Yah. She lied. She snuck in the tent after she got him drunk and laid with him. Of Yah, huh? You got drunken in that. You got rape in that. He wakes up. Now he got to take her as his wife. What do y'all have to do with all that, y'all? See? See how they trapped y'all? You see how they trapped y'all? Every sin of a man has been covered up on the face of the earth, and nobody even think to look at it and see all of it is an abomination and wicked, and always was. Now, let's go on. He ended up having to marry someone who got him drunk, and as a whore, slept with him. Now, what man sleep with a woman that he do not know? She drunk. But that's the will of Yah. That's the will of Yah. Helter Skelter was the will of Yah. Wasn't he born? Think about all these monsters. All these men are hollering about how their fathers and their grandfather raped them, their uncles and their brothers. Oh, but wait a minute. What difference does it make? It's the will of Yah. He brought you forth and brought your kids forth, so it don't make no difference. See how they did it? They cover sin, y'all. They cover wickedness. Y'all need to stop lying to yourself. And they called it righteous. Now here go Jacob, father-in-law now, wouldn't give him the wife he wanted. He still had to labor to get what he really wanted. Look at all the conniving his father-in-law did to hold him away from the daughter that he wanted. He ain't wanted the oldest wife, the oldest woman, but it's the will of Yah. Oh no, but it's the will of Yah. Yah did that. Jacob is Yah's, and he had 4 wives. Look at the wicked and evil. What do Yah has to do with all that wicked and evil behind them 4 wives? Y'all never thought to look into that, did you? I want you to take out time tomorrow or today, before this weekend. Take out time, and we're going to go over that. We're going to go over all the wickedness. And just because all the wickedness and evil played a lot of role in the 4 women that brought the 12 tribes. Does that make any sense? All because the 12 tribes came from Jacob. These men are making you think that it's okay to have as many wives, because Jacob them had 4. And look at the sin, the lies, the drunkenness, the wicked that was behind it all. Now watch this here. Listen to this. All of a sudden, when Abraham finally got the one that he wanted, the one he ended up having to marry, she turned around and was trying to confuse things so that she could have more babies by Jacob by letting him sleep with her maidservant. Tell me what's righteous about that. You see? Do you really believe y'all call that righteous? All that type of chaos and confusion that was going on in Jacob's house. Wicked and evil. Y'all lets you know there's more wicked and evil on this earth. He called it the narrow gate for what is righteous. He called it the broad gate for what is broad. And very many will go therein. And he said they going to the lake of hell. Let me tell you why. But wait a minute, Father. You brought them forth. You allowed them life. Just because an individual is living or lived do not mean it is the righteous will of the Father. That's where they messed up at. That's where they bent and messed up at. They quick to run up on Jacob and how many he didn't have. Jacob could tell you the story of the chaos that was going on and what would make him go into these women to have children by without choosing them himself. Then he said, a man that findeth a wife, this is a good thing. He didn't even find them. These were sisters having their maids to lay down with their husband so that they can have more children on their side. But that's righteous. All because the 12 tribes come out. That's why you messed up to the. I'll tell you another thing. Why you got your tail over here in the land of your captive? with a yoke around your door and neck for 400 years. Hey, ain't you Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Wait a minute, what you doing up over here for 400 years and some in captivity? Ain't you Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Come on now. How many of y'all knew about how many died hung on a tree and they got raped? Men got raped back in slavery and all that stuff was going on. Wait a minute, Father, y'all, all this was happening to the 12 tribes. See, y'all don't think. You go back to slavery and you see all those stuff that they show you. See the pictures where they set them on fire. Wait a minute. That's Abraham and Isaac and Jacob's seed. Wait a minute, hold up. That's the 12 tribes. Did you see something? Did you see the Father stop? Tell me, what have you seen that Yah intervened? 400 years. Tell me what you seen that he came in between. He let it all rumble, y'all. And these fools out here talking about when Jacob had 4 wives, brought forth the 12 tribes. Count how many of the 12 tribes, especially out of the tribe of Judah, got hung on a tree. How many lost their lives on the ships and were thrown over? How many women jumped over that was pregnant? Wait a minute now. Ain't that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Ain't them Jacob's 12 tribes? If y'all just look at Jacob from the beginning to the end, his children, there hasn't been nothing good come out of them. Nothing good come out of them. Why? They living out the outer man. That's what y'all don't understand. They living out the outer man. Y'all about the inner man. Because if you think about the 4 women that had babies by Jacob, that's strictly whoring. That's strictly lust, y'all. Jacob just laying down with him to play the game with women. Come on now, y'all. And you should read it and see how hateful their game was they was playing. But that has to do with righteous. That has to do with y'all, because 12 tribes came out of it. You's a fool, and you're going to be a fool. Moses killed, Moses killed about 10,000 of Jacob's seed. Moses killed about 10,000 of Jacob's seed. Matter of fact, he killed more than that. But Moses killed about 10,000 of Jacob's seed. How you like him now? So see how y'all sick? Running around here talking about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You don't know a darn thing about what was, what is, and what's about to happen. You want to keep lying to yourself. These women are so sick. That's why he said ladder with sin. They are ladder with sin, because some of them are doing some things they ain't got no business doing, y'all. And don't think they not. They doing the same thing that the 4 wives that Jacob had. They hating on one another. Lot of confusion. And yeah, the man to come and lie and tell y'all his household, your household ain't gonna ever be in order. Because one thing you can do, you can control the outer man. But this outer man is their own worst enemy. And if they their own worst enemy, they your enemy, and you too stupid to know it. You your own worst enemy. So you can go and make these people on this devil platform think you in control. You ain't in control of nothing. But the hell that Yah, the lake of fire that Yah has many of you all written in, because you thinking your works is your works. No, baby, he got you in the books, and he got your works wrote down, because you wrote them down before he brought your tail down to this earth. That's how stupid y'all are. Y'all try to make my father alive like he don't know what he doing. He ain't got the right hand power or anything, but y'all all that answer because you can get silly women to submit. Okay? And all of you doing is getting they evil, they flesh. And this is where you know it's a lust thing. It ain't nothing in it but lust. Now, when they sit and they tell you, oh, Jacob had 4 wives, y'all brought the 12 tribes out of Jacob, you a fool. You're a fool. Read how many y'all had Moses to take up out of here. Read what happened to all David's wives. Y'all said, and for that reason, I'm going to give your wives to your neighbors. See, it's a lot. Y'all don't never think. People, stop lying to yourself. Read about David's wives. Read it. It'll blow your mind. You'll say, now, Miss Deborah, why did you tell us to do that? We didn't know that happened. Yes, it happened, baby. You go to Jacob's for a wife. Look in there and see all that wicked and evil going on. And these foolish and evil, wicked men thinking they upholding Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Come on, let me take y'all there. Let me take y'all all the way there. Okay. Out here is the outer man, which is the flesh that's covered in black. That is the bloodline of the flesh. This inside is the bloodline of the spirit. Okay? When Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, David, they came from the bloodline of this spirit. That's where they're going to return back to Yah in the spirit. So no matter what they did here in their flesh, they were branded in their spirit. That's why they worship Yah the way that they did, y'all. You didn't tell me with David, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, did you hear them out here? Where in the scriptures do you hear them, how would I say, disrespecting women? Well, show me one verse in this Bible where Abraham, Isaac, David, Solomon, any of them pull up and disrespect women. Disrespect their mother. Because first, for a man to have a heavy disrespect for a woman, he has to first disrespect his mother. Highly. And it extends when they were little. It happens when one is young. This is where this wicked starts. So when I see that the flesh is teaching the flesh of men how to get glory and honor and lust and satisfying out of the flesh, I said, now look at that. Those men don't even know their spirit is going to be lost. You know why? Because they're following the flesh of a man. And their spirit has no place with Yah. Because once you turn your flesh over to the control and the power and the manipulation and the mindset, and you deceive from your flesh to where that way your spirit will never walk in the oneness of Yah. Never. Because you turned your whole self over. You sold yourself over for what? A roof over your head and some crumbs to eat. It's nowhere in the world. Nobody out there. I don't care what. Don't sell yourself over. Don't sell your flesh over for a roof over your head and some food to eat. Because this individual now own you. They control you. And they control you from the outer man, the flesh. They got you thinking that they are with Yah from the inner man. No, that's why they're working on your flesh. Everything that individual, these men in these cults, everything they teach these men, guess what it's about, y'all? And none of y'all never noticed this, but guess what it's about? Teaching them how to gain power and authority and dominion over the flesh. These men is not teaching these men about seeking like the day of Pentecost, when they always up in the upper room praying, waiting for the Russian roaring wind, for Yah to endow them with the Holy Spirit. These people, and all the way through, that's all they traveled to do, to introduce Yah to the people and pray that Yah endows them with the Holy Spirit. These Negroes now, nowhere near that. They so busy teaching the men how to put women under their feet, control them, be submissive. That make you a man. A man live and a man die. What is a man after he's dead? That's where the problem is at. You want to teach them how to live out the flesh because you have nothing to teach them how to live in the spirit. And that's why one is a deceiver. When they come down, it is their works from heaven that they deceive people. Because anytime everything everybody is doing has to do with the flesh, and they want to call it righteous. No, y'all say, I don't deal with your flesh. So don't you bring that to me. So you follow that flesh of that man. Just because he's telling you to do did. You thinking, but I forgot. They did like Esau. He gave them a place to stay and a little food to eat. They done sold their souls over. They done sold their flesh over to where their flesh don't even know how to touch the hem of Yah's garment, because in the spiritual realm where Yah would come and abide, he see you chasing your idol God, man. Let's go. Let me see how much time I have here. And I'm going to go to first Galatians chapter 15, verse 17. Galatians chapter 15, verse 17. I'm going to back up what I'm saying. Galatians chapter 5. Galatians chapter 5. Galatians chapter 5, verse 17 and 18. Galatians chapter 5, verse 17 and 18. Verse 17 says, for the flesh lusteth against the spirit. You see, y'all? You see what I'm saying, y'all? Y'all still don't get it. I know y'all don't. And you're not going to get it. If y'all don't get it for you, you ain't going to get it. It says in verse 17, for the flesh lusteth against the spirit. Now, here's your flesh. It lusts against your spirit. What's in your spirit? That's where y'all come to abide. That's the only place y'all would meet up with you, is in your spirit. But you see how your flesh lusted against your spirit? Your flesh don't like you. Your flesh is your worst enemy. And why is you saying, Deborah, that our flesh is our worst enemy? As if the flesh is not a part of the spirit. Because if you live out your flesh, then you're going to be, your judgment and your works are going to be what your flesh lived out and not your spirit. You see? Let me say that again. If you live your life out, satisfying and pleasing the ways of your flesh, then guess what? Flesh goes to the grave. Spirit goes stand at the throne of Yah for judgment for the lake of hell. Why? Because the spirit lives out the life of the flesh. Your spirit is living out the life of your flesh. There's nothing good in your flesh, y'all. Nothing, nothing, said the Most High Yah. So if your spirit is living out your flesh and not your flesh out your spirit, then lake of hell and your works are setting up in the books in the heavens, waiting to let you know your destiny. See, that's what a lot of people don't know. So that's why I'm trying to explain to you, when women are submissive to men, you submitting your flesh. That means you living out his flesh ways. To where when you stand before Yah, your flesh gonna go to the grave. It don't give a rest behind. Your own flesh don't give a rest behind about you, because it knows, hey, I'm going to the grave. I'm going back to the grave. But it tames you to do the things that pleases the flesh. And if your flesh is submitted to another man's flesh, then you ain't got nothing coming. because both flesh go to the grave. So when your spirit pull up before the throne of the Most High Yah, what is it going to pull up with? The life of your flesh turned over to another man's flesh. And you live the life in your flesh the way another flesh wanted you to. That's your judgment. That's your judge. Where's your works? You ain't got none. Because you live your flesh the way another man's flesh told you to live. So now you're dead. The flesh goes to the grave. His flesh goes to the grave. Now, when you stand with both of you stand before Yah, he's going to say, well, okay, what did you live in the spirit? Your flesh didn't live in spirit. It lived out its flesh. Your worstest enemy is your flesh. It'll take you up out of here and lose you your eternal life in heaven. That's why he had to write it down. It is written, your destiny. Even though you down here playing, faking until you make it, you down here lying and believing a lie. This is how important it is for you all to understand. Do not submit your flesh to no man nor no woman, because the way you live your life in your flesh, your spirit pays the penalty, because your flesh go back to the grave. And when you stand before Yah, the spirit has no fruit. The spirit has no token of Yah, because you live your flesh by submitting it to the hands of a man and let him live out his flesh in you. See, you don't even understand. They don't even understand you got a spirit. If your spirit is not getting your own flesh under the subjection to it, why? Because that's where Yah abide in you, in your spirit. So if he's going to abide in you, how is he going to teach you? How is he going to teach you? He got to teach you from your own spirit. His spirit abide in you, and your spirit abide in him. Y'all abide in together, and he teach you from that level. He teaching you in the spirit realm. But can he teach you in the spirit realm if you living out your flesh life? No, he can't. So if you want to turn over and hand a man and submit to a man your only one flesh life, you go right ahead. Because the flesh is saying, let them submit. I'm going back to the grave anyway. And their spirit is just going to go to the lake of fire. Because it was it played no role. Your flesh played the role in your life. Y'all didn't know that, did you? Yes, that's why the flesh don't care about what happened to you. Never will and never want to. It don't care. It don't mean you no good. And then you're going to turn that nasty flesh that don't mean you no good, that don't even like you. Your own flesh don't even like you. But you're going to turn it over and give it to a man talking about, I'm submitting you my head. Why can't he be your head come judgment then? When he stand before the mighty throne of the Most High Yah. Y'all ain't going to say, where your head? Y'all ain't going to say you got your head covered. Y'all ain't going to say, well, where's your king? Where's your leader? Where's your ruler? You think y'all going to say that? Come on now. No, he going to say, you live out your flesh the way you want it. And you trade your own flesh and gave it to another flesh, instead of letting your spirit live out in your flesh. You let your spirit just stand still, and you live the life of your flesh by turning it over, submitting it to another man, and let him tell you how to live your flesh. So you submitted your eternal life to that which you wanted to be around, so you can get a roof over your head and food to eat. You decided to sit in the midst of the deceiver, and be one that he can deceive. And it didn't even take very much. Nothing at all. You turned your whole flesh over to a man. Where do you see anywhere in the instructions and direction that proceed out of the mouth of Yah? See, they want to talk. I get it. I get in their stuff. See, when you're reading this word, you got to be able to hear what proceed out of the mouth of Yah. Not out of the mouth of man, but what proceed out of the mouth of Yah. And if you don't see it, y'all pull up in the spirit, in your spirit, and show you what he said and what part this individual is saying that's matching him. That's the blessing of having the Holy Spirit in you as a teacher. How can they get a teacher to come in their spirit when they turn their flesh over to a man? Do that make sense? How can you get the Ruach to come in you and teach you if you done turned your whole flesh over to the man? Now the man have dominion over your flesh, and he makes choices for your flesh. He controls, he manipulates you, he deceives you. You are now have to know things the way he said and the way only his way. So when it come down to the Ruach standing around and saying, that's one I ain't going in. Because I gave her one flesh. She turned around and gave it to him. Now how I'm going to work in her? I can't. Because she submitted her flesh to him. Because she felt that she needed him to cover her. She didn't tarry like I asked them to do. He asked all of us to tarry. That means wait until he comes. So he can indulge his Holy Spirit in us. We don't want that. We want somebody we can see and believe. These people are looking at materialistic things that people are building and people are having, and how people are buying things. They looking at materialistic things. And what is that? Fleshly. It's worldly, y'all. Everybody looking at everything in the world. Worldly. And they ain't giving a rat's behind about the spirit that rests within us. So that's why the gate is narrow. That answered the question. Because everybody's turning their flesh over to another flesh. And then when you get up to the throne of the Most High Yah for judgment, you looking stupid. Because your flesh is in the grave, and your spirit is standing up before the throne of Yah, wondering what can I say now? And he's going to let you know, depart from me, quick. Your works is already in heaven. So fake it until you make it and lying to yourself ain't going to get it. Now, listen to this. In Galatians chapter 5, verse 17 and 18. For the flesh lusts against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. Right there tells y'all. I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all might not get this here, but it's okay. That's how dark it is out here. People don't get no light at all. The spirit and the flesh are against each other. Do y'all see what I'm saying? So if the spirit and the flesh is against each other, then which way are you submitting to the flesh of man? Because talking about that's your husband, he the head, he the king, he the leader. You got to submit to him. You submit your flesh. So what do they say to your spirit? The spirit wants you to submit to it so it can get your flesh in the things which is righteous. But how can your spirit get your flesh under the things that is righteous when you didn't turn around and gave your whole flesh over to some man? Because he told you he king. But then when you pull up from judgment and before the mighty throne, you think y'all gonna ask you where your king is at? Where your head is at? You really think he's gonna ask you why you ain't got your long dress on? Why your head ain't wrapped? You really think he's gonna say, see, those are the tricks of the flesh of men. They deceive you from the outside. And you look at the outside and you try to master Yah from the outside, and you ain't got nothing coming. Because he said he don't deal with your nasty flesh. Now, this is what he said in verse 18 in Galatians. And it says, and these are contrary to the other, meaning the flesh against the spirit and the spirit against the flesh. You know what? Back then, they knew. They knew what Deborah know today. That's spirit and truth. That's what you call spirit and truth. Only way you're able to see into that is through the Ruach HaKodesh. You can't see into what I'm talking about through the flesh of man. Flesh of man don't know nothing about this here. And furthermore, if they even knew a pin needle about what I was saying, the best thing they have going is to keep you from your spirit. because they know that's where Yah can abide in and bring you away from them. So they got to keep you dumb in the flesh. They got to keep you in their control in the flesh. That's why they want to degrade women and belittle them and put them under their feet, because as long as they feel they can keep you there, they in control of your flesh. But you so dumb, women. What about your spirit? And then when your spirit time for you to stand before for judgment, you ain't gonna have no works on you. Nothing that represents spirit and truth. No light. You're gonna be standing before the throne dead. Your spirit gonna be already dead. Go read Revelation chapter 20. He said, that's the dead gonna stand before the throne. The dead. He's talking about dead in spirit. And you're gonna stand before the throne because you let that one breath of life that he gave you, that one spirit he gave you, that one flesh he gave you, you turned the flesh over to man and then had no real spiritual dealings with Yah. Because you can't have dealings with Yah if your all is turned over to the hand of a man and control you, manipulate you, teach you. Yah said, I come to abide in you to teach you all things. If I thought the flesh of man could teach you, why would I want to come down here and be your teacher of all things? That's where you messed up. See, they didn't understand. The women don't understand. He didn't say man was going to teach you all things. He said, I will teach you all things. He didn't say man was going to comfort you. He said, I will be your comforter. I will be your comforter. He will be your protector, y'all. He will show you things to come. He will reveal things to you. But how would he do it? In your spirit. But if your flesh has been sold over to a flesh of a man, how can he do anything in your spirit? He can't. Because the nut ball on the side that got you in full control are not going to let you have a relationship with Yah in your spirit, because he wants to control the flesh. Just imagine if Sister Deborah's flesh is her worst enemy, what do it look like me giving my flesh to another man and his own flesh is his worst enemy? Y'all don't think about that, do you? So when people tell you about polygamy and David had wives and Solomon had wives and Abraham went to Hagar, but let me show y'all something. Y'all put Abraham in a vision for the first time. Abraham was scared. He put him in a vision. He told him he was going to let him have children, like the stars in the sky and the sand in the sea. And it's going to be by Sarah. Why did he come out of the vision? Sarah would say, here, take my handmaid and bring forth. How was Yah? What is Yah doing when he just told Abraham in the vision how it's going to go? But Abraham went the way of his desire, of his flesh. You see? So how was that the way Yah wanted it to go? You see how sick they are? They blame everything on Yah's righteous will instead of saying it's the unrighteous will that stepped in. See, that's what they don't understand, because he's the potter of both the righteous will and the unrighteous will. He ruled the both. But when it all said and done, the righteous will is in the Lamb Book of Life and the unrighteous will is going to the lake of fire. How you like them now? And he created the lake of fire. And they're going to put a lot of your tails in it. And you're going to be Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob going down in the lake of fire. See, that's how stupid people are. They liars. They want to live a lie. And he said to me, this is what Yah said to me. He said, Deborah, everything is plainly seen. I told Satan, make sure you leave the light on for him. And everything else is plainly seen. What they see now is the lies they want to believe. Okay, now listen to this. Galatians chapter 17. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary one to another, so that, listen to this, y'all, listen to this, so that ye cannot do things that ye would. Why? Because the flesh is constantly fighting against the spirit. That's why you can't do things in which you would do, because there's a battle going on, y'all. So if it's a battle going on, and you turn around and take the outer man and submit it to a man, then what happens? There's no more battle, because the man owns your flesh and your spirit is anorexia, confused. Because see, what man did not know is you flesh and spirit. So when I submit my flesh to a man, I still got my spirit, y'all. The spirit is willing. The spirit is where y'all abide. So how is y'all going to abide in my spirit and man have control over my flesh? Come on now, make sense with that, y'all. Do that make any sense? How is it he want me to submit to a man? Another man, a man's flesh. My flesh is my own worst enemy already. That's what this is telling you. The flesh fight against the spirit. But I'm going to take this flesh that fights against my inner man, which is my spirit, and I'm going to give it to a man that flesh fight against his spirit. And what is he going to do with my flesh? That's how sick they are. Because they think they're controlling something when they only controlling that which died, that which has no sense, that which does not answer to Yah, that which not obedient to Yah. So you want my flesh to submit to you. You want my flesh to submit to you. It refused to fight. It fights against my spirit, but you want my flesh. You see how sick that is? You see the mindsets that they would have to want my flesh to submit to you. What you gonna do with my flesh? Flesh goes back to the earth. It don't want no good for me. What is it gonna be wanting for good for you? A man can be in a house with 6 women, which he called his wives, and guess what? There's more evil in the house than it is on the out. Because he think he can rule it from the inside out by making people thinking it's a pretty picture. When the devil knows himself, he's all up in there. And nobody never would know. But in due season, those that are in the house, those 6 women, wives is in the house, 2 of them messing with each other. 2 of them hating the other 2. If y'all say I come to bring the sword between father and son and mother and daughter, what makes you think he ain't coming in to bring a sword between a man and his 6 wives? See how sick they are? They sick. The reason why they so sick, nobody wants to grip spirit and truth. No one wants to tackle the fact that that's the only place the Father in heaven will come and abide in you and help you. He can only help you in the spirit. But if you've already transferred your flesh and submit your flesh to another flesh of a man, then y'all can't do what he does best in you. And he don't waste his time. Because not only do you submit your flesh, you submitted your will. You submitted everything to him. And just because he said he's your head, he's your ruler, he's your king, he's your leader, and here it is, said you're supposed to do what I tell you, okay, I do what you tell me, but when I get to heaven to be judged, you can't you can't take the penalty for what I let you rule over me. That don't make no sense, do it. I'm going to let you rule over me, control me, and only give me a roof over my head and food to eat and talk to me like trash and belittle me and disrespect me, dishonor me, do all these things to me with the one life he gave me when he breathed the breath of life and gave me a spirit, but I gave it to you. But when I stand before Yah, you mean you ain't gonna pay the penalty for me? If Yah told me to give my whole control to you, why ain't you paying for my judgment? Y'all better wake up. When you stand before that judgment, not your kids, your mother, your daddy, your husband, your wife is going to be standing nowhere near you. You're going to pay the price yourself. And if you feel the price is to give your life to the flesh of a man, you go right ahead. Give it to him. Because once you turn that flesh over to him and he has deceived you and manipulate you in a form where you are in control, he's in control of you, you gone. You gone. You can't even study to show yourself approved. Why? Because the Ruach ain't gonna come and rest therein because you sold yourself out. See, a lot of people don't know you sold yourself. You done sold yourself out under these addiction of what did you sell yourself out to? Flesh. You sold your flesh because this flesh told you They are your head. They rule. They king. They leader. So you sell your whole life over to him and Satan, because Satan, that's the only part of he want to kill, steal, and destroy. See, a lot of people didn't know he can't destroy your inner man. He can destroy your outer man. Why would Satan want to destroy my outer man if he can't destroy my inner man? Because my inner man is going to tell me heaven or hell, not my flesh. My flesh going back to the grave. So why do Satan want my flesh? Because if he can do exactly what men are doing to women, controlling their flesh in the way that in full control, and they are so submissive, if Satan can get into that and do that, guess what? You'll never stand a chance in the spirit realm. So when that spirit stand before Yah, it ain't gonna have nothing righteous in it. You see, that's why. And that's why he got y'all thinking polygamy and all these things. These men, you got to let the man have a head over you. He have to be your covering. And you know what? Somebody come into the house and they getting ready to kill you all. Let me tell you something. That man will shoot out that room and leave y'all tails right there. That's a true fact. They do a lot of wolf blowing, of wolf talking, because a lot of them will talk long as they in a circle. Come up out of there. Go to Chicago talking that crap. Go to Detroit. Come up out of that little hole you in. You wouldn't stand a chance. With a man 125 pounds, you wouldn't stand a chance. That's why they do all that wolf talking where they at. Now, in verse 18, Galatians chapter 5 and verse 18, it says, but you see it says in verse 17, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. Why? Because the flesh is always fighting against the spirit. So when you turn this flesh over to submitting to a man, what's left? Your spirit. Your spirit can't stand a chance because it's got to do the things that the man wants you to do. The flesh of a man wants you to do. A flesh of a man. A flesh of a man. And don't forget, your flesh is your own worst enemy. His flesh is his own worst enemy. But you're going to turn your flesh over to him. Come on now. Come on now. Now listen to verse 18. But if ye be led of the spirit, ye are not under the law. Don't let them. See, if you are led of the spirit, you don't have to listen to this trash. You don't have to listen to no man trying to preach, teach, and tell you what. Why? Because the new sheriff come to abide in you and teach you, show you things to come, reveal things to you, comfort you, protect you. Greater is he that is in you than he is in the world. Now listen to this, verse 18. But if ye be led by that spirit, ye are not under the law. Didn't I tell y'all that? I keep trying to tell you. You can't put no law in you. If he's the Ruach in you, what law do he need to be up under if he's greater in you than he that is in the world? You don't have to go under their traditions of following the commandments. He said, furthermore, y'all don't know, they have now one have kept the commandment because they don't have no respect for their mother. So there's no commandment in them. They ain't had no respect for their father. So there's no commandment in them. So they sitting here telling you to keep the commandment. They can't tell a person that's have the ruach to keep the commandment. That's what he's just trying to tell y'all. When you're walking in the, look at verse 18, y'all. Galatians chapter 5 and verse 18. But if ye be led, he's showing you that right here, if he's in you and he's greater in you, he's leading you, y'all. He's in you, leading you. And if he's greater in you than the whole world, then who's going to tell you what law you must follow? You see what I'm saying? That's the point I'm talking about. Stop lying to yourself, making these men righteous men. They are unrighteous, unruly, and unjust. They serve a lot of darkness. They have not even seen a pin needle of light. That's why they don't teach these men, come on, we got to go where the narrow gate is at. We got to find the light. We got to understand spirit and truth. They ain't going to tell these men that because they after the men flesh, y'all. Same thing Satan is. Destroy their flesh. their spirit go where I'm going. Satan said this here. This is what Satan said. If I can take somebody and have them to control their flesh, I can destroy. Why? Because come judgment, their spirit won't have Yah, because they turned their flesh over to the flesh of man. You can't have Yah if you under subjection and you are so to the point where you believe this submissive takes you and puts you under somebody else and they your head, they rule. A lot of that stuff they teaching y'all, they can sit and teach you day and night, night and day. This is the instructions in a direction book that the Roman Catholic then had they butts up in. Man then twist and turn. But until the Ruach HaKodesh come, no man, no woman can't tell you nothing. Now listen to verse 18. But if ye be led, see that word led? Going back to what I was saying, by the Spirit, then you're not even under the law. That means man can't come tell you nothing. How's he gonna come tell you and you led by the Spirit? He ain't led by the Spirit. He led by his flesh wisdom, his flesh knowledge, his flesh understanding, his flesh emotion, his flesh feeling, his flesh opinion, and that's what he's led by. That's the only thing he can teach by. But yet he's going to tell you how to follow a law. When you are led by the Spirit, you don't listen to the flesh of man. And you do not be submissive and turn your life over to full control. Not your life, your flesh over to a man. Now, let's go. That's what verse Galatians chapter 18. Let's go to Romans chapter 7. Romans chapter 7, verse 17. Romans chapter 7, verse 17 and 18. No, wait a minute. Romans chapter 7, verse 17 and 18. Romans chapter 7, verse 17 and 18. And it reads, now then, it is no more I that do it, but the sin that dwell in me. You see, he's talking about the flesh that dwells in him. Okay. Romans chapter 7, verse 17. Now then, it is no more I that do it, but the sin that dwell in me. For verse 18, for I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwells no good thing. There go Paul telling you the same thing Sister Deborah telling you. Your flesh ain't got no good in it. So if your flesh ain't got no good in it, what man wants to have dominion over your flesh that don't have no good in it? It's lust. It gives them power and strength. Y'all didn't know that, did you? That's what it does. It gives them nothing but sin, abomination, lust, power and strength. It makes them think they're a man. And back in the days when they was it bucking men? That's what they were doing with their little boys, them heathens, letting them buck black men. You know, it's supposed to give them power. You see, to do that, to belittle a man. And this is what it is today, y'all. Y'all don't know it, especially you women. Y'all don't know it. That's all they want to do is drain you, your strength. They want to drain your strength. They want to drain your power. They want to drain your energy and have full control over your flesh. And then they want other men to look and see what I got. They do what I tell them. I rule my household. I'm a man. You's a fool. You's a fool. And you're going to be a fool. That's how they do it. And it's about show. It's just like a man will get a woman. She can be, no matter how old she is or how young, as long as she got a big tail on her, that's going to allow him to get pleasure seeing other men looking at her rear end. It's like him having a trophy in his hand. Even if she's an alcoholic, she can be a strung out, addicted to drugs. It don't matter. That rear end alone, that's a mindset the Negro men has real bad, real bad. They don't care. Oh, I got 3 trophies. I got 5 trophies. And that's what they're doing. That's what the father said. They using women as wives, using them as trophies to show other men. Look what I got. Look what I'm doing. But what are they doing it to, y'all? The part that what? Against the spirit, the flesh. That's what they doing to them, y'all. They draining them. So they won't have room to exercise the spirit in them. And Yah exercise his spirit in them. So if they turn it over to man, then they don't look to seek Yah to be their head. You see? So they really selling themselves off. But listen to what Paul said. Listen to what Paul said in Romans chapter 7, verse 18 and 17 and 18. In verse 18, I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwells no good things. For to will I present with me. For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good, I find not. He's talking about the flesh. Ain't no good, Paul said, in the flesh, y'all. Paul said there's no good in the flesh. And that's what Sister Deborah is trying to tell you. What man won't you submit your flesh over to his flesh? That's how Satan wanted. Because he said, if I can just destroy the flesh, then their spirit won't have no communion with Yah. That's the whole trait of Satan. A man that wants to have dominion over a woman's flesh and wants her to submit her flesh to him is an ego, a pride, a boaster. He wants other men to see his authority and how he got them ruled. And they take their dumb tails and let him rule when they need to be going elsewhere. Getting out of that. Get away from it so you can serve Yah with all of who you are. And let him deal with Yah, deal with your spirit so you can get the flesh under subjection to your spirit. Because your spirit is willing. That's where Yah abide. And he will teach your flesh how to follow your spirit. But how your flesh, how can you, how is it your spirit going to teach your flesh if your flesh been turned over to the flesh of man? Been given to him to do what he want and how he want, the way he said, the way he do it. And it's a mind thing. But Yah said it's a strong delusion that has been poured out. And he said it's not going anywhere. It's no, they can't even see righteous. They can't see just. They just see their way and their way only. Like he said in Proverbs 16, verse 2, in a man's eyes is clean. But Deborah, tell them, I measure the spirits. And that's where Satan come in with all these demonic spirits and live in them. Because their eyes are so clean. They so upright. They so just. They so the man of Yah. They are king, leader, rule, and all of this. I tell you what, let them go. Let them go. But I'm judging their spirit. Because that's what's going to have dominion over them. To where they're not going to be able to, your spirit man is not going to be able to hold a relationship with me. Because they're going to be having too many spirits within them. That's why he said, and I measure. He said, I measure their spirits. That means the S. He said the spirits that come to abide in them. The demonic spirits that comes to abide in them. To keep them from having any real spiritual relationship with Yah. And they don't even know it. Because they got the strong delusion juice poured out on them. Okay. So I like Paul saying that Paul told you all that there's no good. There's none. No good in the flesh. Let's go to James chapter 3 and verse 14 and through 18. James chapter 3, verse 14 through 18. Keep in mind, y'all, it's all about this inner man. The outer man will keep you from being able to grip the hem of his garment because of the fact that you sold your outer man over to the flesh of man. And that's why I say it to you all, and I will say again, any man wants a woman to submit to him in a way where she cannot be submissive to Yah. He is full of demonic spirits. And most men that run around here talking about this polygamy, they are full of demonic spirits. Who won't in this midnight hour? In this midnight hour. Then he said, the trumpet is blown and the door is open. So you think you're going to walk your bad tail into somewhere with your 6 wives? Come on now. You and your wives will be standing on the outside because they serve you as their God, as their idol. And they did not hear nor took heed to Yah's prophets, nor the prophetess telling them, giving them the warning, because you have fooled them up. And the delusion, the spirit of that delusion juice has spread on them as well. So it's like they ain't gonna stand a chance. Okay, let's go to James chapter 3, verse 14 and through 18. Listen to this. Starting with 14. But if ye have bitter envying and strife in your heart, glory not, and lie not against the truth, and lie not against the truth. Verse 14. But if you have bitter envy and strife in your hearts, glory not, and lie not against the truth. There go that heart. You see it's black? That's where you carry envy, jealousy, bitterness, strife, right in that heart. That's the flesh, y'all. Verse 15. This wisdom descended not from above. This wisdom ascended not from above. Why? Because it's on the earth. It's the sin of the earth. It's the wicked of the earth. It didn't need to ascend because it was down here on the earth. When Satan came down to the earth to what? Deceive the whole earth. Okay? So it says, but if ye, now 15, this wisdom descended not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish. This wisdom, no, we was at 14, I'm sorry. But if ye have bitterness and envy and strife in your heart, glory not and lie not against. Verse 15, for this wisdom descended not from above, but is earthly. It's worldly, y'all. It's worldly. Because that's the flesh, y'all. And it's sensual, devilish. It's devilish as well. Verse 16, for where envy and strife is, there is confusion and every evil work. Come on now, somebody say something different. Every evil work. That's what he said in this flesh, y'all. So who would want, if the flesh fight against the spirit, who wants to have the flesh of somebody submitted to their flesh? It don't make sense, y'all. Why would you want somebody's flesh submitted to your flesh? Because you want to boost and boast and show other males that you think you a leader, king, and ruler, and you's a fool. Because anybody who seeks after the flesh of somebody to be submissive to their flesh, let me tell you something, you lost. Okay, verse 16, for there, it says, for there where envy and strife is, there is confusion and evil work. It says every evil work. Verse 17. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to entreat, full of mercy. Now listen to this. Full of mercy and good fruits. Good fruits. Without partiality and without hypocrite. These are fruits, good fruits from above. Now watch this here. Verse 18. Watch this here, y'all. The fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. Okay. Now see, this is fruit. Do you see the word fruit there, y'all? What was one of y'all's brand? It's sitting right next to righteous. That's what fruit is, y'all. The fruit of real spirit. And it's telling you, verse 18, and the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. Now, why is that one of the fruits? I keep telling y'all, they done smeared this book up and down, and they have sent the deceivers to take you out. So you'll never see spirit and truth, because they calling the fruit what they have. They calling the fruit the things of the flesh, the things that give them pleasure in the flesh. They call those things the fruit of the spirit. And here it's showing you plain the fruit of the fruit of righteousness. That's spirit, child. Peace. That's spirit, child. Now listen to this. And it says in 18, and the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. It's already sown in them. Didn't I tell you righteous is a brand? It's already in you before you get down here. That's why they said is sown in peace. It's sown already in you. Peace. So therefore, we chasing a lie because we believe in what they say and not what Yah has said. So that is the fruit of the spirit. While we thinking, not we, they're telling you. This one lady came on my page and she said, Pastor Dowd is doing a great job. All the things that we have and all the things he's building. I'm like saying, fool, everything he's building is connected to the flesh of man. It's nothing he's building that's in the spirit. These are fleshly things. That's why it's out of order. That's why it's out of order and out of control. And it has taken the fleshly man to where it's blown his head up and not understand. In that day, said the Most High Yah, in that day, all that there is gonna come tumbling. Okay. Now let's go to Galatians chapter 6. And I had to cover that because it's still talking about the difference between the flesh and the spirit. I just want to make sure y'all understand who wants to be a person flesh to be submitted to them. You crazy as I don't know what. If my flesh is my worst enemy, why would I want my flesh to be submitted to someone else who also flesh is their worst enemy? It ain't got nothing to do with it. It's power and control, just like Satan. That's what Satan wants. He come to what? Kill, steal, and destroy. Can he kill you, steal your spirit? No, he can't. But how he does it, if he can kill, steal, and destroy the flesh, he got your spirit. Because your spirit can't serve and worship Yah. If you're cracked out, can you worship Yah? No, you can't. If you're drunked out, can you worship Yah? If you're serving the flesh of man, can you worship Yah? No. You got to worship the way man says. Because you turned your flesh, the only flesh you got, you turned it over to man. Where Yah tell you to do that? And this is what they don't understand. You turning your whole self over to man. And you don't have nothing in your spirit that's walking in Yah. Because if so, it would tell you this is not it. And if there are women that has come to the conclusion within them, that the Ruach is in them, they fighting right now. They fighting it now against it. They thinking, they feeling all kind of negativity. I'm telling y'all, they fighting amongst each other. They saying things against the one that wants to have all these wives. And that fool's just too stupid to even know. Don't ever put women together, because they all go up against you when you think you got full control. You ain't got nothing, baby. You're dealing with spirits that don't have Yah leading them his way. They let you lead them your way, and they don't have Yah leading them his way. Yah is not going to lead them his way if you got them your way. Let me say that again. Yah is not going to lead them his way if you got them your fleshly way. Okay. Now, in Galatians chapter 6, verse 12 and 13. Galatians chapter 6, verse 12 and 13. As many as desire to make a fair show in the flesh. Didn't I just tell you? Listen to this. Verse 12. Galatians chapter 6, verse 12. As many as desire to make a fair show in the flesh, they constrain you to be circumcised, only lest they should suffer persecution for the cross of Christ. Verse 13. But neither they themselves are circumcised. So what are they? Why is they holding you liable for being circumcised if themselves who are circumcised keep the law, but desire to have you circumcised, that they may glory in your flesh, controlling your flesh, telling you. Now listen to this, verse 13. No, just listen to what he said. Verse 10. Neither they themselves who are circumcised. But yeah, they're telling you to get circumcised. That's that power, y'all. That's that controlling your flesh, telling you what you got to do, what you're going to do, how it's going to be, because I'm king, I'm head, I'm leader, I'm ruler, and I can have all these wives. You silly fools, if you could see Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the hell that they went through, because they chose to do things in the unrighteous will. It didn't keep life from coming forth. You know how many babies lost their life at the age of 1 and 2? It didn't keep them from coming forth. Wake up, people. You know how many black men were hung from the tree and set on fire? But it didn't stop their life from coming forth. So we're just because out of 4 women, the tribe of Judah came out of it, you act like heaven came down. That shows you they mind gone. They mind gone. And Jacob didn't even think like they think. That's just they mind gone. But it said in Galatians chapter 6 and verse 12 and 13 is that they will want you circumcised and want you keeping the law. But watch this. But desire to have you circumcised, that they may glory in your flesh. They want to glory controlling you. I told you that's what they want to do. That's why these men run around here want to really fight to uphold polygamy. They want to fight to hold their kings, their ruler, their leaders. And where is it? Where did Ezekiel, Jeremiah, pull it up? Isaac, where is Deuteronomy 28 says that they're going to be where they at today? A lot of people say when we do have to maintain, baby, please go back and read. But see, what they done is they denied it. The curse has been fully denied by the tribe of Judah. They fully denied the curse itself. I already know that they denied the end game, because the end game is too much for them to handle. That's why they denied the end game. But they denied the curse itself. And this is why they're living outside of a way that the curse said one thing and they living in another one, because they sold out already and they don't understand that. See, a lot of people don't know that. When you disrespect the curse that Yah told you he put you under, he'll let you go the way that you think that's pleasing in your eyes. And you too darn dumb and too darn stupid to see it's not lining up with the curse itself. And the reason that is because you sold out. When you sell out, you go your way. But yet, y'all know the way that you take it. Because in the heavens, the books has your works. It knew what you're going to do. When you get down here, what you're going to do when you came out of your mother's womb and when you leave out. Everything is already written. Your whole action. So stop lying to yourselves. Lying to each other. Letting these men make you all out of fools. If you only got one life, what makes you think y'all gave it to him to control? Y'all never thought of it like that. If you got one life in the flesh, why would y'all take your one flesh and make a man control it? Now, his whole idea was that y'all work together and have dominion over the earth. But what man did, he took you out of them, which is the perfect will of Yah, and made it him. And they walking around here teaching these men that. And y'all don't have no problem with them. They doomed. They are doomed and don't know it. And don't care. That's the sad thing. That's why you never hear none of these Hebrew Israelite men talk about repentance, turning from their evil ways, turning from the ways that does not please Yah. They'll never give you anything like this. They'll never say anything to their congregation, nor to the men about the light, going the direction to the light. They'll never talk to these men about spirit and truth. They'll never tell the men you have to wait on the Ruach. Let the Ruach teach you. No, they want full control. Whenever you got a cult leader, they want full control every way, shape, form, and fashion. Okay, now Ephesians chapter 2. I'm almost finished. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 3 and 5. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 3 and 5. 3 to 5. Among who also we all had our conversation in time past in the lust of our flesh. You see what I'm saying, y'all? See, y'all don't understand why your flesh is your worst enemy. It covers envy, jealousy, hate. What other word was that? It was covering all kind of wickedness, lust. And in here in Ephesians chapter 2, Ephesians chapter 3 and 2, Ephesians chapter 2, verse 3, among whom also we all had our conversation in time past in the lust of our flesh. That's that outer man. So why do you want to be submissive? Why do you want a flesh that lusts to be submissive to you? So you can shower all the eyes and the weak mindset men to believe that you are a king, a leader, and a ruler, and you are what you call a man. And they so weak, they don't understand you're born a man. A man is not how you deceive and manipulate people. That's what makes you a man. That makes you foolish, because being in the flesh don't make you a man just because you leading the multitude and you deceiving. You created to be a deceiver, and that makes you to be a man. That makes you to be a fool. Okay, and it says, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind. There you go. The flesh controls the flesh mind and the flesh heart. Those things don't have no connection to Yah. None whatsoever. So just imagine what man will want you that don't have no part to Yah. Yah said, yeah, give it to him. Let's see. Go on, give it to him. And that's what they riding on. That's what making them think they're kings and leaders and rulers. Okay. And he says, and whereby natural the children of wrath, even as others, those that fulfill the desire of the flesh. Now, did y'all hear that? Those that fulfill the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. See, they think that I just told y'all, heaven's got you locked in and locked out. You can get down here and you can lie to yourself and you can fake it till you make it. Heaven know who you are. And listen to how beautiful this sounds. Verse 3, Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 3. Among whom also we all have our conversation in the times past in the lust of our flesh. He's talking about the flesh. Fulfilling the desires of our flesh and the mind. And whereby natural the children of the wrath, even as others. You ain't nothing but wicked and evil. So just because you got women submissive to you, they don't mean nothing but that you're wicked and evil. They don't get that. See, they thinking because they got a congregation, got people submissive to them and up under them, they ruling, they look at that as righteous. Baby, do you got flesh you controlling? Y'all want their spirit. You got their flesh. It is nothing he's going to do with their spirit if you lead in their flesh. Because you lead in their flesh minds, you lead in their flesh heart. Then this heart that they have in the spirit, and then they have a mind in the spirit, they have an eye in the spirit, and they have an ear in the spirit, and they don't hear a word the prophetess is saying in spirit and in truth, because they are in the flesh. And they are in the flesh. Born of the flesh or born of the spirit. Verse 4. For Yah, who is rich in mercy, for his great love, wherewith he gave us, even when we were dead in sin, he quickened us together in the power. That's Christ. Christ is the power. By grace ye are saved. Okay. Now, what is it? Ephesians. Oh, yeah, it stops at 5. So, by the power, he quickened you. And that's when you're dead in sins. He quickened you, quickened us together with Christ in one. That's, remember Christ being the head of the body. We're in him in one. That's the power is ruling us. You see? So, how is it that we're going to fall away from the power, which is Christ, and he's over the body, and go to the flesh of man? It don't make sense. I'm going to go and submit myself to a husband, okay? And Yah has quickened us together with Christ in the body of Hamashiach. So it's letting you know, you seek your spiritual purpose first before you lock anything in. And if you have locked the flesh in before you seek the spirit for yourself, then that's on you. You are who you are. Okay? And it's the last but least, and that's Romans chapter 13. Romans chapter 13. No, I think it's Romans chapter 13 and verse 13 and 14. Romans chapter 13, verse 13 and 14. And it reads, let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rowdy, drunkenness, not in chambers, nor wantonness, not in strife and evil, but put on the Lord Yeshua HaMashiach, put on Yeshua HaMashiach, and make no provision for the flesh. Make no provision. He said, don't even give your flesh no room. Put on Yeshua HaMashiach, but don't give your flesh no room to fulfill the lust therein. See, he's sitting here telling you the difference between the flesh and the spirit. So if you got a spirit, what part of being submissive do the men want? The flesh. The flesh. They want control over your flesh. And that means that you think you came here on earth for you to be up under his feet, for you to be in full control of everything he say, do, the way he do things, the way he call things, and in his order, then how are you going to follow Yah? You can't, because you turn your flesh over to the flesh of man, and now your spirit is just sitting around looking stupid, anorexia. And y'all don't have no problem with that. You always wanted the idol God. He let you have your idol God. Now have your idol God. Your idol God told you, you got to submit to him. You got to do this. 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 Because he going to give you roof over your head and food to eat. So therefore, you didn't trust Yah to do any of that. You just wanted what you want. That's why he said, creeped into the churches, led away silly women, ladder with sin. That means they loaded up with sin. And even though they sit and look holy than thou, they role playing in the flesh to him. That's what's sad. They role playing. They're lying to themselves in the midst of who he is. And you can be married to a man 80 years and have so much hate in you for the way that he treats you, he done you, he speak to you, and it's in your eyes. It rests in your eyes. And guess what? It keeps your spirit from having a true relationship with Yah, because you sold your whole self over to a nasty flesh of a man. And now listen to what this here just said in verse 14. But put ye on Yeshua HaMashiach, and make no provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust therein. Why is it that it's always talked about? One of the number one thing that flesh desire is lust. That's heavy, y'all. And that's what they want control of you over, so they can have you their flesh ways. That's why Yah ain't got nothing to do with the flesh of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the flesh of Jacob, the flesh of Solomon, the flesh of David. But the men today, they mimic the flesh of those men. And that's what they're trying to master and make you think it's righteous, without seeing all the wicked, the abomination, the sin, the evil that was among the 4 women that Jacob dealt with, which was among Abraham when he went into Hagar after he had just came out the vision to Yah. What righteous was that in that? So why would you put that on Yah and say Yah gave him Hagar, use a fool, after he just told him in the vision? See, this is what I'm saying. Men gonna make you and break you and make you think wrong is right and right is wrong. That's why they need to get you under their feet to the point where they want to, you submit. They are head. They are your ruler. They control you. They everything. But then when you stand up before glory, you stand before Yah. Where is he at then? Where is he at? He can control you down here. He can manipulate you and deceive you and rule you and put you so dirty under his feet. But where is he in the heavens when it's time for you to get judged? That shows you Yah ain't put them in that type of control. Yah did not do that. He did not put them in that type of control. They put themselves, and you keep lying to yourself that it is the will of Yah. Learn to read. First and foremost, learn to stay out of anything that leads one to spirit and truth until you get the Ruach HaKodesh that's going to teach you this book the right way. Don't trust in no flesh of nobody. Let the Holy Spirit do what he said he was going to come to do. So these women that submit, they don't get the opportunity to look in the word and be led by the Holy Spirit, because they so busy submitting their all in all to a man so he can degrade them. Because that's all they's about. They about having trophies, using your flesh, and they lust you as a lust item, so they can have trophies and walk around. I'm a king, I'm a leader, I'm a ruler. I got my house on, baby. You ain't got your house on control, because everything you in your house is because of somebody else that you deceived to get what you got. Okay. Now, the last verse was Romans chapter 7. That's Romans chapter 7, and that's it. Romans chapter 7 and verse, let me see which one. chapter 7. Romans chapter 7 and verse 7 and verse 14. 14? Wait a minute. Chapter 4 and 5. Romans chapter 7, verse 4 and 5. Wherefore, my brethren, ye are before become dead to the law by the body of Christ. You see that? You are dead to the law by the body of Christ. See, I told y'all the body of Christ is y'all's power. You ain't under nobody rulership. You ain't got no business submitting to nobody. You ain't under nobody's feet. How can you listen to this? Romans chapter 7 and verse 4. Wherefore, my brethren, ye also are become dead to the law. And you running around here following the law of a flesh of a man. Because he's telling you the law say he's a king, leader, and ruler. You submit, you do what he say, he rule. Y'all never said that. That's the mouth of loudmouth men throughout time. Because in Genesis, he said them, not him. Today, it's him, especially amongst the tribe of Judah. That's why in Isaiah chapter 3 and 25, y'all say he's going to destroy them. Identical to the way he said in Deuteronomy 28 end game, until every last one of their tears are destroyed, Deborah. They won't even tackle y'all. They won't even go to Deuteronomy end game because they don't want y'all to know. The end game, men, you are destroyed. I know it. They ain't gonna tell you. Go to Deuteronomy end. It tell you. Okay. So here in Romans chapter 7, verse 4 and 5. Wherefore, my brethren, ye also are become dead in the law by the body of Christ. Letting you know you don't follow all this mess that they telling y'all. If you're in the body of Christ, do you know who Christ is? That's the same us in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. Us. That's Christ. That's his power. That ye shall be married to another, even to him who is raised from the dead, that we shall bring forth fruit unto Yah. How many times did I tell y'all that? How many times did I tell y'all that? The fruit unto Yah. How you gonna bring fruits unto Yah? I ain't even going into that no more. Y'all said, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Just know you won't have nothing in the heaven, because he already told you. Okay, but it's saying that we shall bring fruit forth. We shall bring forth fruit unto Yah. How we gonna bring forth fruit unto Yah? Bet you don't know. Verse 5. For when we were in the flesh, the motions of sin, which were by the law, did work in our members to bring forth fruit unto death. Bam. See the two fruits? One is to Yah, and the other fruit is to death. And that's what people are living on, the fruit of death. That means the lake of fire is where you're heading. The fruit to death. That's for the body, for the flesh. The flesh is death. It's doomed. And if your spirit been living out the mission of your flesh, you're doomed too. Didn't know they did you. You found it out. And there's so many other verses explaining. I got like 6 other verses, but I'm going to stop right there. I want to say this again. This is the body of Deborah. Inside of me is a spirit, as you see the light. You see the black heart is the flesh of the flesh heart. The round circle here is the spiritual heart. You got an ear in the spirit and you have an eye in the spirit. You have 2 eyes to see in the flesh and 2 ears to hear in the flesh. You got 2 entities, y'all. I know we're going back to the 2s. And they never taught the people that in the church. That's why when they stick in soul, that cuts you off of understanding that there's 2. It cuts you totally off. It makes you not be able to see, well, wait a minute. I need to get my flesh under the subjection to my spirit. Because you take soul, then there another entity there that plays a role. The middleman. That was put in there. That shouldn't have went in there. Because he said, let us make man in our image and in our likeness. Let us make man in our image. The word image. Man. Flesh. That's what he did with the dirt. Flesh man. And our image came into man through breathing the breath of life. And he became a living spirit that had the power to raise the flesh. Because he breathed the breath into the spirit. The spirit came in when he breathed into him. And that's how he became life. But it ain't a living soul. He's a spirit. That's the image that was said in Genesis. In Genesis, when he said, let us make man in our image and in our likeness, we cannot say that Yah's image and likeness is a soul. Once you define soul, then you can just make Yah just like unto a flesh of a man. And you can't do that, but that's what they do. And he mentioned that a lot in the Bible. So I, Sister Deborah, would like to say I appreciate each and every last one of you all tuning in. And I will be back. I hope you got something out of it, because the truth of the matter is recognizing your spirit. Work your spirit salvation that's in your spirit out today. And not let your flesh have dominion. Get your flesh under the subjection to your spirit. And stop trying to give your flesh to be controlled by another flesh. So I, Sister Deborah, said, I hope you got something out of it. Shalom and shalom.